Hi, this is Jim Ziegler, and I've got one heck of a show for you today. This is the Dog Pound. And artificial intelligence, AI, a voice talking to you on the telephone. You get a call, and all of a sudden, you're talking back, and you realize this is a real person.
If you
AI,
realize it anymore.
AI is the buzzword of the National Dealers Association convention. Everybody talking about AI. So, our panelists today, we're going to talk about, is it real? Do you need it? Why do you need it? Does it work? Who do you go with? And we're going to start out with from Florida today, Denny Hodges. Hi, Denny.
Hey, how's it going?
Where are you? Who are you with?
I'm with the Dyer Auto Group.
Fantastic. And what city?
Got stores in Lake Wales, Vero Beach, and in Fort Pierce.
Oh man, beautiful Florida. So you're using AI in your day-to-day work. Is that true?
That's correct.
Fantastic. And let me see this new title here. The Duchess of Sales Process.
Ooh, the Duchess.
From the Horn,
Some kind of
from the Horn Automotive Group. The director of marketing for how about 25 stores, 30?
476.
we're buying all the time. We're adding that.
April Simmons.
Hey, happy Tuesday, y'all. Obviously, this is a really hot buzzword topic, so I'm excited to hear all the different perspectives.
And okay, from 66 Auto Mall in New Jersey, no snow today. Andy Garcia. Hi, guy.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
What do you do, Andy?
Parts and Service Director of 3 franchises, and we are currently with an AI. This will be our second AI in the past 18 months.
And you're using it for service applications.
Service and parts, yes.
Fantastic. And the owner of Connect AI, just fresh out of retail, he stepped out there and started his own company. My friend, Jared Kilway. Hi, guy.
Jim, how are you, buddy? Always good to see you.
You know, you got to know what you're talking about if you're bold enough to come on my broadcast with a t-shirt.
It'll be like the walk around, Jim, like back in the day where you taught us all how to do a walk around the right way. We're just doing it with AI now. That's all.
Fantastic. The AI walk around. We'll talk about that. And the queen of BDC, the woman that knows everything about business development centers, phone conversations, connecting with customers on every modality. I couldn't get that woman today, but I did get Bobby Harris.
You know what? I'll take it. I'm always learning and growing, just like everybody else. I'll take it.
Glad you're here, kid.
Thank you, sir.
And the Empress of Productivity, Jennifer Briggs, the most executive, intelligent woman in the car business. Hi, kid.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Well, are you ready for AI?
I am. I guess it's appropriate that I had the title switch to Empress of Productivity on an AI show. So, yeah.
Well, what would you prefer?
Well, I thought it was the Empress of Executive Management, but it's okay. We can switch it up because it fits for the
I did
topic.
switch it out just a bit because of the AI show, but okay, if you want me to go back to executive management, I will.
Well, I guess the question would be, is it productivity if it's a machine? Or is productivity only tied to human effort? So maybe that's a good way to kick it off.
Look at Jennifer getting technical already. Where's Max?
Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's start with Denny Hodges. Denny, what are you using? Are you using Connect AI, I take it? Jared?
We are. So we're using Connect AI at 2 stores, and we're using the Impel at the other stores.
Okay, that's good. So you got two different vendors.
Yep. And I've used Conversica. I've used the Vin Solution side, and then the eLeads. So I've used several.
Okay, well, tell me, what does AI do for you and your dealerships?
What I really like about the AI is it picks up where we drop the ball. There's so much that, as you know, you're on the phone call with somebody, you're out on the lot with somebody, lead comes in, questions need to be answered. AI is the one grabbing it right away. Where us as humans, unfortunately, we can't work 24/7, and it picks that ball up, and it does it at a fraction of the cost of what it would take to staff somebody 24/7.
So, as I dubbed Jennifer the Empress of Productivity, so it improves your productivity. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
So, when the lead comes in, how does the AI respond?
it responds immediately. And it responds based on what the lead is. And the one thing with Connect AI, and I've worked a lot with Jared on, you can customize it depending on where your lead source is.
Okay, fantastic. How are you using it, Andy?
I use it for the service department to make the appointments and to direct the call to service advisors. I'm sure that anyone here can grab 10 dealerships in the area and call them, and 9 out of 10 times it'll just ring. This AI is 24/7, can handle 200 calls a minute. It makes the appointments. It refers the customer to our own receptionist if they want to get a hold of an advisor. It sets the appointments. It's in our system, the current system we use, we can tailor it to the store. The
Let
old
me
system,
ask you a question. Are customers tripping over it and having a problem with it? Does it have its glitches?
so some customers like to talk to a human. And our system currently, all they have to say is speak to a representative and it transfers.
Okay, so this
Um,
this is Auto Service AI. That's the company you're
Auto
using.
service AI, yes. We at today's age, if think about the old style. If I'm on my cell phone, I'm driving my car, hands free, whatever. I call a dealership. What's the first option you get? Press 1 for sales, 2 for service, 3 for parts. I'm driving. Now I got to pick up my phone and dial a number where the AI takes all that away from you. You can speak to it, tell it what you want, and move forward. Um, we're very happy with the AI. We know it helps. We know that customers still need to get used to it. We try to encourage people to use it, and we look at other avenues to adapt to it so it becomes part of the store. So we consider the AI an employee.
So this isn't the little guy from India all concerned about your car's warranty.
No, no, not at all.
That little guy from
No,
India.
I don't think that.
Most of the people we've got calling about warranties, so let's give him credit where
Yeah, I
credit.
was going to say, I don't even think that guy could handle 200 calls a minute. So,
You
Hey,
know, can we, before we
Jared,
get too
take the
far,
question on the screen, Jared.
Which one? We got a couple of them there, Jim. Are we talking
I'm
about the
looking
one
at
for me?
Aaron Hart's
potential
on.
opt-outs.
Let's not forget about the potential TCPA, DNC, and opt-out feature compliance issues that might arise with AI. And he's talking
Hey,
about
that's a great. Yeah, I'll grab that one, Aaron. So that's a great question in terms of being TCPA compliance. That is something I work with all the dealers on when you're shopping for an AI, even whether it's ourselves or somebody else you go with. You have to be aware of this. So it
what is
starts with the beginning.
TCPA?
He's got it spelled out right there. It's the. Go ahead,
Telephone
Jen.
Consumer Protection Act.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
what causes us all the problems with texting back from 2013, I think, is when they changed the language.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So the one thing to look about when it comes to that compliance standpoint, it's where is the data coming from and how is the AI engaging and reaching out to? For example, if you audit your lead sources, which we as an industry don't do a great job at, and we audit those providers. Go, for example, right now and look at a couple of your third parties that you may be buying leads from. Gurus, Cars, Auto Trader, etc. Go look at the language before the guest hits submit and fills it out. It is all TCPA compliant language for texting. So they have, in essence, opted in already with you as the dealer because it's your VDP as well as with that provider at that point. And into the point where even the language that's included into that from a compliance standpoint includes robo dials, the old school way where you sign up for something that dials 500 people outbound in 30 seconds to get them on the phone. All of that language is included into that. So part of it is, okay, we know third parties are covered, but what about the remainder of the dealers? So part of going live through implementation, like we went through with Denny, is making sure lead forms on the website have similar language to match up. Making sure your ROs, that when the customers are signing off of those in store, making sure your language has that legal element to make sure you have the ability to text. Make sure your part of your sold packet and your forms in your packets for your sold deals includes a language sheet to be able to reach out to them. So you have to take a step back to take two steps forward by doing an audit to see where you're covered, where you're protected, and where you're not. And then, just like we used to do in Google Analytics, set an event tag of this happened this date. This point moving forward, we know we have compliance to it, and we're good to go.
Fantastic. Bobby,
Yeah.
take Jeff Schreier's question. Do you see the difference between Connect AI
Yes.
and Vin AI?
Okay, I love this question. I'm going to give just a quick overview first, because as usual in our industry, we tend to take words that are buzzwords and we blend them. The reason everybody is talking about AI right now, truly really talking about it, is because of ChatGPT, and that is not the same as what we're talking about today. So I want to be real clear with everybody that that's not the same thing. AI is a language model. That's the underlying technology that powers it. So think about the language model as the engine, and think about the chatbot or an industry product you're familiar with as the car, right? A language model sifts through the data. The AI we are familiar with, thinking of chatbots or current industry products, they've been around for a while, and most of those are tailored towards specific tasks, like chats, answering email, alerts, things like that, things that we're talking about today. ChatGPT is much more sophisticated thanks to a widespread data that it's trained on. So websites, spools of data, et cetera. It's part of a growing field that's known as generative AI, meaning the difference between generative AI and the AI that we're familiar with is that generative AI creates content and has the ability to handle specifically tailored tasks. So is there a difference between Connect AI and Vin AI? Absolutely. They're not the same product. They just both have an AI at the end. And both of them use a language model to process the data that's used in their product. They're not the same. So don't let that confuse you for our listeners as you're learning these things. I can put the AI at the end of any product that I use if I want to, as long as it's smart enough to have a language processing tool. That doesn't make it true AI the way that you're hearing this buzzword everywhere.
Fantastic.
Hey, Bobby,
Yeah,
can I jump in on that, Jim?
yeah,
Bobby,
go ahead.
that's a thank you, and that's a great generation of it. But the one thing I would say is when we do have conversations with dealers, we need to ask that question. What is the AI model being trained on? Because so many different generative models that you're speaking about are trained on non-automotive exclusive parameters and conversation data. That is a big piece to it. So if you think about AI that is being utilized for hotel and travel industry, and they're also utilizing that to be running on a conversation to a guest who wants to buy a new F-150. That language of a question, they could be similar, but it could completely butcher the answer with a guest on the F-150. So that is the one thing I will say we do is we don't use any outside NLP or machine learning. We run everything on our own data to produce automotive focused exclusive conversations, which is the exciting piece that right now, besides us in the text communication AI platform, nobody else is doing. But I do know some in the voice side are using their own model data that it's exclusive for automotive as well. So that's just a question with that.
Jennifer,
I'm going to tell every dealer on this call and every vendor, I'm going to warn you that the next person that I see post some bullshit like we have a ChatGPT product, I'm coming after you publicly the same way I did when I was at the dealership and got awards for it, because it's not true and it's a lie. And ChatGPT is a product based off of AI. It's not something that's incorporated into any tool that I'm aware of in automotive at all, unless you're a billionaire who's, I don't know, Elon Musk, who was an original co-founder who stepped down, the head of LinkedIn, or, Microsoft. But I don't think any of us are competing in that space.
Jennifer, jump in here a second.
Well, I think definitely, and again, based off of the different types of models, and this was a heated topic as us girls were together on site with a dealer last week as far as what the difference is. But what the real question is, and I think what Jared just said, text versus voice, because we have different needs for this in the store. And if you would have asked me 7 years ago, and when Dave Murad first came out with Conversica and did ask me, I was like, there's no way your little chat bot can do better than my fully trained internet staff. Now, I know not every dealer has the capability to say that. And as I've grown more and more in my consulting base, where we're managing a lot of buy sells and a lot of messy databases coming over, I do see a lot of value for wading through those records with an AI tool. But I will tell you, the tool that Andrew is using, I saw it in ADA and I was so impressed just because of all of the CSI issues that I help manage with my service directors and service managers.
Now that is strictly a service AI, correct?
No, it is started as service. They are starting to roll out, but it is primarily based for phones, where Jared's tool is text. So, but it's all about data and what it's listening for. And what Jared said, as far as our language being different in automotive, it has to be able to identify and parse that data to be able to give a response. One of the things I thought was incredibly interesting from a director of operations standpoint was that with auto service AI being phone-based, if my advisors don't return that telephone call, I can create an escalation plan. For the AI that is answering leads and helping to go through that, we can create an escalation plan. But we haven't had that so far that I know of on the service side with phones. And I will tell you, again, listening to CSI issues over and over again with clients, it's huge. So when we talk about productivity, whether it's in parsing through, a database for a store that you just bought, whether it's handling leads right out of the gate so that the consumers don't have to wait, or making sure that every single one of your service customers gets responded to, I'm going to say what I say all the time: identify the issue that you are trying to solve before you go searching for a product.
Okay, let me get Denny in here a second. I want to change the direction this broadcast is going a bit. I want to get back into Denny. Tell me some success stories.
Well, one thing I really like about the Connect AI especially is when it reaches out to the customer and they set an appointment, it will set a phone appointment with the customer. It'll call the store. My salesperson will answer and press 1 to let them know that they're available, and then it will connect the customer. Kind of like back when I was in the military, right? Whoever's the highest rank is the one who holds the least. So that customer has no hold time. It's directly from my team straight to that customer. And then if that salesperson's not available, it rings to every salesperson and first come, first serve.
So how's that working for you?
I love it. That's great. It takes that customer experience, which is really the biggest thing with AI, is getting that customer the answer they need as quickly as they possibly can.
Well, you just said the word quickly, and I'm going to get with Andy on this in a minute. You said the word quickly. I get that AI is more about how much time it saves you and how many more leads you can handle, how many more people you can process, how much more you can do at the same time. Am I wrong?
Yes and no. So yes, that's great for us.
No.
But no, the real thing with AI and what I like about it is it gets the customer the answer. Because without that customer getting the answer and the customer waiting, they're going somewhere else. If we can provide the value to them, they're going to come to us, because customer service is key in the car business. And it's the one thing that sets us apart from other dealerships is the fact that we look out for customer number one.
Fantastic. Let me go to Andy a second. Andy, take that question on the screen, would you?
So, basically, like I said before, how many phone calls do you miss? Because if someone's busy, an advisor's busy, the receptionist's busy. How many calls do you miss? You can't really put a number on that. So there's your AI. Can I give you a number based on facts? No, I can tell you that every call that's coming through the service department is getting answered by an AI, and if the AI can't help, it's being transferred. So there's a CSI increase on that. There's better responses. The AI automatically makes the appointment. It doesn't have to have a human contact. Um, it puts, instead of having 10 receptionists, 10 advisors answering phones, you have an AI answering 90% of the calls, maybe 80% of the calls, maybe 50% of the calls, but you're not missing those calls. And I challenge anyone, call a dealership that does not have an AI. Call 10, 15 dealerships. Call the service department to make an appointment. Guarantee that you're going to be, oh my gosh.
Let me jump in on that. I have said in speeches and seminars and conferences for years, the one employee that blows more deals than any other person in the dealership. Who did I say that is,
The
Jennifer?
receptionist.
The
You always say
The
that.
receptionist. The receptionist, him or her, and usually it's a pretty female intensive position, so I'm going to say probably her. She thinks her job is to channel those people to voicemail, to get those people off the phone as quickly as possible, not handle their inquiry, not handle what they called about. The receptionist believes it's his job to get those people to voicemail and not to get them to their destination and not to get them to the point where they came in on to do something or to talk to somebody. AI connects that, is what I'm thinking. Jared, am I wrong?
No, you nailed it, Jim. You nailed it again as that one. And
I'm so good.
it's really meant to what you said and Denny said, and Bobby. Everybody said it so far. It's the enhancement. It's not replacement. AI is designed not to replace a person. It's to enhance the guest experience by providing it. So I look back to this, and it's going to be a crazy analogy, but you know me, I always come out with the crazy ones. You look back at why Domino's Pizza became so successful again after years of falling off the map. And it was their pizza tracker that they came out with, and everybody could watch the little line move when you ordered to, oh, it's in the oven or it's getting made and who's making it and all these different steps. It's the reason why Uber, it's the reason why Lyft, it's the reason why these companies became successful, because it's that transparency effect. I think that same pieces and some of the things we're working on is to be able to provide that same level of service to that consumer. Hey, you're here in the process. Your ordered a vehicle. Imagine this. What if you could do the Domino's Pizza tracker for your new Cadillac Escalade, Jim, that you just ordered, and you just put your $500 deposit down, and now you don't know when your car is going to show up. But what if you had the ability to track it like a Domino's Pizza tracker? What would that do
with Ford
to that
Motor
service
Company, that
level?
would be a disaster.
Well, I mean, right now you could go into ChatGPT and write the code for it without even trying and have that program exist in about 6 minutes.
Okay, I got
know.
it now.
Okay,
I teed you up, and
we haven't heard from April yet. April,
I gotta talk real talk with the dealers now. All right, dealer people. Here's the thing. Bobby gave the best explanation I've ever heard of AI, but I will also still say that AI is a buzzword and everybody is talking about it. And one of the things I've drastically learned is I love all the vendors, but they'll all say, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, that's how it works. Ultimately, you won't know until you try unless you do this. So I'm going to take what Jennifer said. For our usage of AI, it's store by store. And we look in our process and we say, where is my biggest pain points? Where are we losing opportunities?
how many AIs are you using?
3 or 4 different little pieces. Because like Jared,
Name the vendors. Who are you using?
I am using Cornell. I use Stella. I have used Vin. I don't use that anymore. There are a couple other little integral pieces where it's part of another package that is being used. but it's small little pieces throughout. And what I have to tell you about AI and what I've learned so that we make sure we do this right, look first of all for your biggest missed opportunities. That's the first spot that you want to look at interjecting AI. So for one of my stores, it was like Andrew said, it was service appointments, right? Getting our service appointments scheduled, especially for a store that is a high volume where my customer base still wants to call in to set that appointment. Some of my stores mostly do them online now, so it's not as big of a pain point at that store. So first of all, figure out what your big pain points are. Second step, once you figure out your big pain points, reach out to AI in that area that says that they can solve those pain points. But before you sign a contract, find 3 or 4 dealerships that are currently using their AI.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yes.
Ask
yes.
them for 3 or 4 dealerships that are currently on the platform that they are selling you. And then you go be a customer at all of those dealerships and you try to see if you can break their system, if you can understand it, if it's as easy as they say, if it actually answers the questions you say they're going to answer. And if it does and it works, it should probably save your pain point then, and you can sign the contract.
That's great advice.
That way you don't have to worry about whether it's this kind of AI or that kind of AI, because they're all going to tell you it is. They all do. Love y'all, but you do. So at the end of the day, be a customer, go shop it, and see if it works for another dealer.
That's great advice. I want to just add something real quick to that. On top of that, I want everybody to remember that that AI is a language modeling tool, which means just like a human, but way smarter. It gets smarter as it learns the language and grows. So what doesn't work today is likely to work as soon as tomorrow, the more data that it has. So while you're doing this experiment, know that a product might be the right product to fill the pain point that you're looking for and solve it, but it may not be ready yet. On the flip side, the ones that are ready the fastest and the ones that are going to solve the majority of the pain points for you are going to increase in price astronomically. I say get on their 20 groups right now. Get on their boards, get on their 20 groups, get in their beta testing, be a part of it, and lock in what would be essentially a negotiated rate for later in the event.
Are there a lot of new companies coming out? A lot of new companies?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Wall Street put out this article the other day that I loved. I'm obsessed with this topic, if you can't tell. And it's true what they said. They said companies touting new chat-based artificial intelligence systems are running a massive experiment, and we're all the test subjects. Mm-hmm. It is that fast that you're going to learn. And in this experience, they're basically putting out an alien language, an alien intelligence that nobody really understands. And it's been granted the ability to influence our assessment of what's true in the world. And that goes for buying experiences, shopping experiences. For crying out loud, teachers right now are unable to decipher without another AI system if an essay has been written by AI. ChatGPT last week passed 3 of the toughest medical exams in our country. I'm not going to pretend I remember what they're called. I don't, but it did without any help. That's dangerous. What? And used wrong, it can be very dangerous, or used correctly, it can be very helpful.
All right, Andy Garcia, let's go back to customers a second.
Let me just add one thing.
Oh,
one of the biggest things on AI that I learned 18 months ago, and someone said it before, they'll tell you they can do all these things and they can do this and they can do that until it goes live. And then they tell you it's going to learn your system, and it takes a little while. Now you're in it for 45 days and you realize you still need something changed. And the answer to you get is, well, that's how the system works. The reason we switched to auto service is because I can make a phone call right now and say, I need this customized to this dealership. When a customer says, I want the owner now, it gets transferred. The other system, believe it or not, would not understand, I need a receptionist or I need a service advisor. It didn't understand. It kept on asking the same question. Would you like to make an appointment? They were looking for keywords. But absolutely make sure that you can customize the system for your store. We're not all cookie cutters.
Mm-hmm. How many times have I been screaming at the telephone, representative?
There you go.
Oh, gosh. I get so bad.
I usually just say human.
But I'm sorry, what was your question, Jeff?
The question was before you went on your tirade there, which was beautiful. The question is, tell me a success story that you've had with an individual that comes to mind.
A success story that comes to mind.
Yeah,
My God, that's gonna be.
something that AI did that you just said, "Damn, that's cool."
I mean, if you listen to these conversations, the AI knows that if the customer's in your dealership,
Okay, can you listen? Can you listen to the
I
conversations?
can listen to the conversation. If I say the keyword, the car needs to be towed in. Boom, the AI gives the towing number that we choose. Is your car under warranty? Here's the manufacturer roadside assistance number. You've just taken 7, 8, 15, 20 minutes of time and gave it to something else so another live person can work for those 20 minutes.
And it lives in
Exactly.
all of the levels. It lives in
Yes.
all of the levels. Last week, I created an Atlas campaign for the new Atlas. Welcome to the family. I'm not going to tell anybody what system I used because I'm going to keep using it, but you'll be able to Google it and find it pretty easy. I used a system, an AI system, and in 13 minutes, I created an entire art campaign. We talked about who's going to do the videos for it. And since nobody wanted to volunteer, I created an avatar to do the videos that looks like a human, implemented a voice, and they're now the brand spokesperson. And then I created an entire social media campaign using 12 bullet points of information that will last up to 3 months and incorporate the fluff holidays and the national ones. It took like 13 minutes, people. It will blow your mind.
The avatar, did it look like Haley Joe Osment?
It didn't. I needed an avatar that nobody else could use so that when a person gets fired,
You
they're no
have to
longer.
remember the movie Artificial Intelligence.
And it was just an idea concept. It wasn't all the way into play. But just like Andrew just said, even AI with VIN, for example, there's AI with VIN with responding to people. And there's AI with VIN actually as a Cox Automotive product, which is looking to see if somebody's visited another website or looking at a car, whatever. Those two pieces are completely different and utilized in different ways. Where just last week while training on site, I was able to identify a list of sold customers that were coming up out of lease and had exhibited buying behaviors within the last week. Was it perfect? No, but it gave us a list of 14 people to start with. And that 14 person list was more powerful than the 300 on the manifest to get the sales team and the managers bought into actually doing it. And I'm not advocating for VIN AI here, to be clear. I'm just saying that was what was being used in the store and it was used in training. And those examples are top of the funnel to the bottom. Now, if I incorporate it in Jared's product, we go even a step further.
So I want
Yeah,
to just,
Bobby. Oh, sorry, go
I
ahead,
want to
Jen.
just real quick before we get too far away from what Andrew said and what Bobby just said, and like when April was saying for vetting these different vendors, you guys, basically what Andrew said was he made a change because with a prior provider, he couldn't feed the machine. What Bobby just explained to you was she created an entire marketing campaign with a content creative AI tool that allows her to feed the machine. We wouldn't hire a salesperson that we couldn't train, right? So why would you necessarily have a product that while it's learning, you can't contribute to how it learns? And I think, Jared, I'm going to tee this right back over to you because you already said it once, where your tool is automotive specific so that it's already knows our verbiage and our language. But I think that is really key in any type of partnership. And here's where we're going to miss Max and in claiming vendors aren't partners. But it is a partnership when you can feed the machine so that it works better for your consumer and your.
Vendors are not partners.
All right, Jen, go
No,
ahead.
Jen, no, 100%. And going back to April's statement, April, thank you, because what you said in terms of the vetting process is something I tell people who we work with. But also, in addition to that, it's really pick the 3 biggest issues. If I'm back in retail, coming out of retail to this, I'm going to go look at what are my 3 biggest impact elements right now that I can have AI do that's going to make an impact to not only my productivity, but also most importantly, my bottom line. And that's what I'm going to zero and focus in on. And that's the question when I asked Denny, when he came on 4 or 6 months ago, what are the pieces that what do we need to focus in on? And what is the area of opportunity? Because it's going to be 2 or 3 things, and we're going to get 2 or 3 things really fine-tuned, dialed in, and perfected. It's no different than building CRM processes. You're going to have to continuously work, adjust, tweak, make adjustments before you really go into the next step. And that's where we like to work with people in the dealer sides, like Denny, where it's like, okay, where does this come in? And now it's like, oh, how can we utilize the CDP to better feed the AI to reach out to, like Bobby said, a guest list of people who, here's 100 people that are looking at an F-150 that are actively engaged, that we know are text users that are going to have a high probability of engagement. How do we continually get better and more efficient with our marketing reach, but as well as better empower and strengthen the AI conversations to provide a solution that really enhances the guest experience?
What methods are you using to communicate with these people?
I'm sorry, say that one more time,
What
Jim.
methods are you using to communicate with these people?
We are pure text. We're pure text basis on, inbound, whether it's a KBB ICO sequence or a sequence for, cars.com or your digital retail. And we have some stuff that we're working on with DR providers with feedback from some of the people on platform, and talking to Bobby at NADA and others. We're working with some DR components to be coming out in the future as well. But all of our communication channels is all via text. So it comes down to, going back, Jim, isolate where's the area of opportunity. It's lead volume versus staff. That is the biggest one, not having enough staff to handle the lead volume, and focusing on creating the engagements. We're not trying to take over everything. I want to lift your engagement rate and get somebody delivered to your trained staff that are engaged, rather than having them go and call and talk to 50 different voicemails. Why not let them get on the phone with 15 people who have said, yes, I'm interested. Let's talk this time and place.
Okay, so the buyer, somebody take that question on the screen.
I mean, do they just not listen when I say things out loud? They just don't sometimes. We're being solicited by Dealer AI about Microsoft's latest OpenAI revolutionary chat GPT technology. Anyone familiar? Okay, and I don't mean to sound like, are you listening to me? I mean like Dealer AI. I don't know what their sales staff was trained on, but chat GPT is not the product that vendor is soliciting to you. I promise. Do me this. Ask them to put it in writing. Ask them for the legal contract that says that it's a chat GPT product. And then also, it doesn't really matter if it is. It doesn't make it better or worse. It's just different, and I don't want you to get lied to. And that's where I would start with that, because it's not that product. They're using a buzzword, a term that is real,
Right.
engage you to get you to listen to them. So here's the truth. Every vendor in the market that has an AI product could essentially say the same thing, and you would be just as interested. If you're looking for what Dealer AI actually offers, which is a conversational chat AI product, only look at them for that, and then look at their competitors and follow April's advice and ask for 8 dealerships that they have, and then don't go to those 8. Those are their best customers. Go to the ones that aren't their customers. Look
exactly. Don't go to the bell cows that they put out.
I usually actually ask
reference,
for, in addition to those references, guys, I always ask for who are your last 3 cancellations as well.
Oh, that's good.
And don't be afraid to ask for it. I mean, look, the product, the technology that's available to us right now is amazing. It doesn't need to be a secret. It's going to need to be trained. Samsung dropped a product in Japan last week. I can't remember the name of the town. It was a small town, but it's a Samsung product where I, who don't like to answer my phone, if you know me, you know that, right? And I don't take voicemails, can actually train my own AI tool with my voice to tell you that when my phone rings, and have you answer and go, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. Go ahead and shoot me a text right now, and I'll get back with you later. I, as a person, as a human, am not going to lie to the person listening and not tell them that it's AI. I'm going to use the tool, but I'm going to use it openly and honestly and with transparency. And that's scary to do at first, but that's the right way to do it. These tools are about to be incredible. Over 1 million people signed up for ChatGPT in the first week. It launched in November, not publicly, but in November. It's gone so out of control crazy that the valuation in the billions took days. If you think that all of that stuff is new and it just happened, you're crazy. It just got released. And since it's been released 2 months ago, it's got even wilder. By tomorrow, some of the things we heard about with AI that were last week will be wiped out and not exist.
Bobby, they all evolve. Every
Oh,
one
it's
of them
going to evolve like
evolve.
nothing we've ever seen.
You mentioned Conversica. I asked Conversica to come on the show, and they couldn't bring their on short notice. This show, I was not going to have vendors on this show initially. Initially, I was just going to have dealer people, but end of the month, the last day of the month, I was real lucky to pry Denny and Andrew loose because dealer people didn't want to be on the show. So I said to Jared, and I went to Conversica, and I even went to auto service and asked them to personally be on. And Jared accepted, but Conversica was probably the first AI chat box, but they've evolved to whatever they are now. And Jared, are you evolving right now? Is that in the short time you've been in existence?
Oh, I mean, Jim, when I came on, it's night and day difference in terms of evolution, and it's changing faster than anybody can keep up with, and it's because of the influential dealers like an April, like Denny, like Andrew that are pushing us to get better. Hey, I had Big Tom LaPointe. Everybody knows Big Tom. Talking to him, he goes, "Hey, I want AI to run my sold follow-up sequence after 6 months because my salespeople just don't do it. Is that something you do?" Or, hey, you know what? The birthday phone calls out of Vin Solutions that no salespeople make, but is valid and is an important task. Can you automate this? So it's going back to what Bobby was saying with the conversations and the models. That's important. Talk about Chat GPT or GPT-3, which is the integration
Right.
data point for Chat GPT, which,
Right.
yes, do we have an integration with? Sure. Anybody can do an integration with it,
Right.
but it's what are you training that data on for a model? It comes down to how you train it. It's like buying a cell phone out of the box and not having a SIM card put inside of it, is the best analogy I can give you for Chat GPT. But where we're all missing the boat, and we need to really take a step back and think of who the end user is, which is sales team, say BDC team, etc. The other question you really have to ask yourself is how does it integrate with your CRM and your current process? Does every communication push to your CRM? Full transparency into that active record. Does it start and does it stop based upon the activity your sales team has done? Or is it like a light switch? Is it on all the time? Because it could have the best conversation models in the entire world and answer every question. But if it's stepping on top of your sales team at BDC, trust me, you're as a manager are going to hear about that because they're going to be like, this is just pissing the customers off. They're disrupting what I've already talked to them about. So it's really, as I look at it, it's really three pillars. One is the CRM integration, which is critical. One is the evolution of the product suite, and the one is the actual level of conversation. And you have to find one that may not be the best at all three of those, but an equal balance and showing trajectory towards growth and evolution to really be able to build, once again, that partnership of long-term growth and be okay with being okay, knowing that it's going to get great.
And it's not set it and forget it. It's not a set it and forget it model. If that's the pain point you have, you're in the wrong business. You know, move into another lane because this is not for you.
April, jump in there a second.
You know, I have one question actually kind of going back toward Bobby that because again, AI is a big old word that hits a lot of different areas. But Bobby, you had mentioned utilizing it for content creation. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of conversation now around AI and content creation. And I'm just curious on what your take is on whether or not the Chat GPTs of the world are going to create duplicate content if we're going to go into the SEO world, and if we're going to end up having a massive amount of people paying now for duplicate content that's going to end up, you know, hurting them with Google.
So that's a great question.
It's worse than just duplicate content.
Yeah, it's a great question, but and I give it with a warning. I give the answer with a warning, and that with what little we know right now, even Google is coming out saying, "Oh, there's no competition for SEO," but then they pre-launched a product that wasn't ready and devalued their stock. So clearly there is. But even right now, AI is already used through spinner tools to unduplicate content, you know, that we're paying in other countries for, where it comes over and it's respun. There's a ton of tools out there that already do it. I would tell anybody that is going into this, and I can only work with the knowledge that I have thus far, that if you're buying content from somewhere and you're not certain if it's AI content that could have potentially been duplicated, you should be running it through your own spinner tool, doing a QC check on the information, and then putting it out there. I would, unless you're working with one of the top tier SEO companies, and I don't mean to say that there's not a lot of them, but for me, it's Search Lab Digital. That's my go-to, and you never hear me back a product. That's the one. unless I'm going through a company like that, and probably even if I am right now, truthfully, I'm going in and looking at all of the content that I at one point trusted and reevaluating it. And then knowing that Google could come out at any time and say that now SEO is different, because now how we search, it will become different. It happens
Right.
that fast in Microsoft. So it will with this as well.
And I
Well,
totally agree. And I think that's a whole nother spin that we've got to just
Yeah,
be really
great question.
aware of, because there's a lot of, it's suddenly now I can create content like you in 13 minutes. Like it doesn't
Right.
take time. So you're going to have a lot of new vendors jumping into that space as well. And I think
100%.
you just have to be very careful and ask a lot of questions. And to your point, spinner tools are great. If you don't know what you've got to find out, because nowadays with AI and some of these things on the surface, you may not know. And then also the other thing I will say is you've got to watch your contracts. So make sure that you're reading your contracts with a fine tooth comb, to understand where is the liability for something that is put out by AI. Because if they do mess up, if they do break rules, it's not a person you're going back and punishing. Where does that liability land? And so I think that's the other side to this equation as we move into these new waters that we all need to be just conscientious of, because I'm not sure if anyone has, AI insurance yet or not, but I think it's something we got to think
AI
about.
insurance. Oh no.
Right.
Okay, let me go to Denny. Let
Yeah,
me go
there's
to
your next
Denny.
business.
Let me go to Denny a second. Denny,
So-
did you shop for different AIs when you ended up with Connect?
I did, but I want to add one thing to this before answering your question and kind of going there. One thing for dealers, AI does not replace the knowledge that the person has. One thing you've noticed on this program, everybody here has the knowledge to understand if it's doing the right thing or not doing the right thing. So don't go look at this for a replacement of something you don't have. Look at for something that you've got a pain point that you can expand upon. So it's not going to replace the BDC. It's not going to replace somebody who knows how to handle a phone. It's just going to help. So that's one thing I want to make sure. It's not the expert. We still are.
So you shopped. Did you have another? We don't want to name a vendor. Not yet. But did you have another vendor that was not that they replaced? I guess is what I'm asking.
I did, yeah, and I actually only replaced them in 2 stores because I like doing A/B
What
tests.
was the shortcoming of the vendor you replaced?
It's not, well, really the shortcoming is Spanish. We've got a Spanish population here in Florida, and we're really going after the Spanish community because there's such a need there to not go onto a completely different topic, to keep them from having to go to buy here, pay here. We have such a need that we can help. And we've got such a great staff that we can help with Spanish speaking. And one thing with Connect AI was it was not only able to help us with Spanish, but even help figure out what dialect that Spanish is and be able to communicate the customer. Again, it's all about
whether it's Cuban or Mexican is quite a bit different.
It absolutely is. And I'm just learning Spanish again, so I can't really help with that. But yeah, absolutely. That was all about the customer experience. And we have one store that we have a lot of Puerto Ricans, another one's more Colombians or Cubans. And it's a huge difference. And that's made a difference for us.
Okay. Andy Garcia, you had other vendors. What were the shortcomings of the other vendors?
Like I mentioned before, they just were not customizable. I think that Jennifer said it before. I wasn't teaching the AI. The AI was teaching itself, but not getting any information from me. So it was doing whatever it needed to do without my input, and I couldn't correct that. So we tried, and the answers we got back was, "That's how the system works." Well,
that's the problem with most vendors is they design it on theory, on the way they think the car business should be.
Right.
The programmers, you guys are geeks. You're geeks. You don't get this shit. Okay. And having car people in the background, as Jared pointed out earlier, we have a special vocabulary, we have a special product, and when they program the way they think the car business should be, is that what you're saying? Am I missing the point?
Even the simplest things, asking for a receptionist. It says the system that I have will say I'm going to transfer you to a technician. What?
No.
Remove technician. Can you say service advisor? We really can't do that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So they weren't a. That's the key. I think the key is looking for a company, an AI, that specifically concentrates itself into the dealer business, not an AI that works throughout the country for everything else.
I'll never forget when Vin Solutions launched when they very first opened. And Matt, who was the brilliant coder in the back end, wasn't allowed to talk to dealers because they learned very quickly that he wasn't a customer facing person. He's a brilliant guy, super freaking smart. So soon they started.
You know Matt, do you? I named him the Uber geek.
Yeah, we had it out. I was one of their first clients, actually, with a large group. We had it out for a while. But then they quickly brought in dealer people. One of the smartest things they did, and from a vendor perspective, it was probably also the most profitable on their end, but from the dealer side, was bringing in dealers for a dealer advisory board where we did upvote on things Reddit style. We did look at it. And from their perspective, they brought in influencers is basically what ended up happening. So smart, but it built that product to what it is now. And say what you will about Vin and the crashes they have and whatever else, but they have a completely granular product that can be customized in each store. And it took that many years to get to that. This is why I say join the advisory boards for these products you're looking at, people. If they don't have an advisory board, they're probably not ready for you to join it yet because they're probably still in the stages of doing one or two things. One is what Andrew said, we can't do that. And two is, you know what, that's a great idea. I bet our development team can do that. I bet they can't, and you're selling a product, but that's cool. Dealer advisory board, if you're on it, will give you truth into a product and it'll give you the ability to help propel the product, meaning teaching the parts that we don't get to teach inside of the store. And
Jennifer, jump in here.
Can't encourage it enough.
Hey, they don't let me talk to the programmers, even though I write 4 languages. I'm not allowed to speak to those guys because I'm too car guy abrasive, I guess. But there are a couple things that I want to just include because we are talking about 2 different types of AI. We're talking about the language and the chat bots that are helping, whether it is in a text way, in a chat widget on your website, or through a phone conversation that's parsing through the keywords that are coming in. And we have also been talking about the chat GPT and some more content creating. And it's so funny, somebody had asked about the dealer AI. So of course I went to their website and the top thing it says is it's a chat bot. So I know everybody is trying to stay up on this buzzword, but you've got to understand what one you're doing. In April, it was real. So I sit on a Google Business Product Advisory Board, and I will share with you guys that our entire quarterly advisory meeting was centered around ChatGPT and AI and how it's going to affect businesses all across the country. How I got invited to that realm of Uber geeks, Jim, I just don't know. I'm just the lone car guy sitting there trying to give my input, right? And
the Uber geek was Matt Watson.
I know. So April, it's so much
friend of mine.
Content because what it's going to return is the best answer that it can find, not necessarily the correct answer. And so as we're talking about it, that's why it's so important in any application, whether you're utilizing like Jared had said, an integrator for your chat bot to talk to an AI content generator to come up with answers, because it seems like that's what this company is doing. If that user is still watching the show, they've created some type of connection to be able to give a wider range of responses in their chat bot. But who's checking those responses? Who's verifying it? Who's QCing against it to make sure that it is accurate? So again,
Andy Garcia is.
Of course Andy is. Andy's on top of it. The question, because he has a product that lets him feed the machine. So he's making sure that it's correct. And that's why that's so important. But Jared had mentioned very briefly another buzzword that everyone's talking about or going to very soon, be is the CDP, right? Utilizing your data, using and tying these things together. I think the biggest issue right now is that everybody wants to talk about the buzzwords, but nobody really understands what they are. And is it really truly artificial intelligence? Or if I'm wrong, when Vin has its behavioral data one, that was automotive intelligence, which that was really cool because looking at the different behaviors of the consumers in your CRM across the www was quite interesting. But the number of leads we were able to mark lost because we saw Sweet 16 vehicle posts that had brackets from competitors was quite interesting using that tool. But be cautious and be careful. And if you don't know, or if somebody's talking, just, do a pause, make your notes, go back and research it. If it is just fluff and doesn't solve for your issue, you're going to waste your time and your money. And ultimately, it's going to create a bad consumer experience. And that is going to affect your bottom line.
Fantastic. Jared, jump back in there.
Yeah, no, it's kind of hard to follow Jen on that one when it, coming back with that. But it's so true. And it's not about the now, it's about where can this go? And that's kind of where I'm looking at it, is from the evolution of this with the CDP as it's a buzzword. But what is that going to mean in 5 years? And what are we planning for in 5 years with that? Where is CRM industry going to be? And so that's where I'm always looking at that 5 year mark. Hey, maybe Jim Cramer and I are back in the metaverse doing this here in 5 years. Who knows? But it's the things that we need to look at and go and review. But that's the future. What's the now? And what have we learned from the past so that we can make the now better and plan for 5 years? It's kind of how we operate here at Connect. But we do that with talking to people like you that have taken great notes from this. I've got some ideas and some pieces to it. So it comes down to constantly evolving, constant changing, and making sure the integrations are tight. Because integrations are the key
integration
to everything.
How can they get in touch with you, Jared?
Component.
How can they get in touch with you?
Anybody can jump on. It's connect, KONECT.ai. Jump on our website, go there. There's time, book some time on my calendar right there on our website. Answer any questions, whether you're using our product, competitor product, or just have a question in general about where is this at and where is this going. I'd love to talk to everybody.
Okay, so they can connect with Connect at that website. It's
KONECT.ai, Jim.
Okay, so you misspelled it. Okay.
One N. Of course I did. Would you expect anything else from me, Jim?
Okay. Oh, you geeks just blow me away. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, is that
there
it?
we go.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is it.
Okay, just wanted to be sure I had it.
real quick. Somebody buy all the other domains so they can transfer right over.
Right, exactly. I was going to say, please tell me you own all the misspellings.
We own quite a few of them. Absolutely.
Okay.
Ooh, fantastic. You don't know the one I just bought. I'll send you the bill for it later.
All right, as we get down to the last couple minutes, and Bobby, how many did you buy while we were talking?
7 before I announced it.
Okay, very good. All right, as we wind down the last 1 minute of the show, Andy Garcia from 66 Auto Mall in what city in New Jersey?
Neptune, New Jersey.
Neptune, New Jersey. I've been to your showroom, Pat Sassone, your dealer junior. Pat Sassone, Paul Sassone Jr., good friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. Thank you for being on the show. And
my pleasure.
And when we talk about the Dyer Auto Group, multiple stores on on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Denny, thank you for being on the show today. Appreciate having you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And Jared Kilway, maybe you are the new Uber geek. I'm not sure. Thank you for being
Oh, Jim, it's always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for having me, and great to see all these familiar faces again.
Okay, so thank you, Melissa Sigmund. Jennifer, April, Bobby, thank you. Wave goodbye to the audience, everybody.